In the early hours of March 6, 1944, a B-17 Flying Fortress codenamed Hell's Fury soared at 23,000 feet over Germany. Deep behind enemy lines, the crew braced for the onslaught of German fighters. In the most vulnerable position of the bomber, the tail, sat Staff Sergeant Michael "Mad Mike" Donovan. What transpired over the next few minutes didn't just mark a turning point for one bomber crew, but would ripple through the doctrines of aerial combat forever. Donovan's story would become legend, but not because he sought glory. He changed the way airmen survived by embracing aggression over caution, rewriting not just the rules of engagement, but the mindset of war itself. Michael Donovan was a product of South Boston, a neighborhood where life often hinged on acting first. His father worked the docks, his older brother fought in the Golden Gloves. Street fights were common, and Donovan fought in over 100 by the time he turned 17. He only lost 4. His philosophy was simple: wait and you get hit, act and you live. That belief followed him when he enlisted after the attack on Pearl Harbor. The Army Air Forces tried to place him in a ground crew. He fought for a place in gunnery school. They called him reckless, too willing to expose himself to fire. Donovan's retort became a motto: dead gunners don't shoot back. Live ones do. He wasn't the most accurate gunner in training, but he was the fastest to acquire a target. That speed, born from a refusal to wait, made him different. Assigned to the 391st Bombardment Group based in Framlingham, England, Donovan joined Hell's Fury, an aircraft with a troubled history. 3 missions in, its previous tail gunner had transferred out after narrowly surviving 2 fighter assaults. He called the tail cursed. Donovan volunteered immediately. When Captain James Whitmore confronted him about the 38% casualty rate for tail gunners, Donovan shrugged. "Then I've got 62% odds," he said. "I'll take them. Because I don't wait for them to shoot me, I shoot first." From the very beginning, Donovan's unorthodox approach shook the squadron. On his first mission targeting a ball bearing factory, he shot down a German fighter and damaged 2 more. But what stunned the crew wasn't the kill count, it was his timing. Traditional gunners waited until the enemy closed in, conserving ammo for higher hit probability. Donovan fired while they were still forming up, disrupting patterns and costing the Germans the coherence they relied on. When he targeted the wingmen instead of the lead fighters, those not yet engaged but predictable, he began to unravel enemy attack runs before they started. He didn't stop there. Every night, Donovan studied enemy tactics, dissecting how German fighters approached. He realized that American doctrine reacted to enemy action. The Germans set the pace. He saw an opportunity to reverse that. If he could engage before they were ready, during their coordination phase, he could force them to react to him. By the mission on March 6, 1944, Donovan was ready to put theory into full practice. The target was an aircraft factory in Augsburg. Intelligence predicted heavy resistance, over 2,500 enemy fighters expected. Hell's Fury was part of a larger formation, but the numbers were overwhelming. Before takeoff, Donovan requested permission to try something different. Whitmore gave him a single chance. "If we get shredded, you're off the gun." As they crossed into enemy airspace, 12 Bf-109s approached from the tail. Standard practice was to wait. Donovan didn't. He opened fire at extreme range, 2,000 yards, well beyond where anyone expected hits. Most rounds missed, but the German formation scattered instantly. What followed was a masterclass in psychological warfare and calculated aggression. He didn't simply shoot to kill. He shot to unnerve, to force disarray. When fighters regrouped, he fired again. Precise bursts meant to disrupt. The confident, synchronized German attacks unraveled. When one veteran pilot refused to be intimidated, Donovan let him close, then unleashed 200 rounds in 3 seconds. The Bf-109 disintegrated mid-air. In that engagement, Donovan destroyed 3 fighters in 30 seconds. When more fighters arrived, 18 this time, he coordinated with waist gunners, concentrated firepower on key vectors, and methodically dismantled the attack. He destroyed 2 more fighters in 3 seconds with instinctive shooting. With every second, the myth of an invincible tailgun grew. Even after expending 1,200 rounds, Donovan had enough left for one more defense. When a massive group of 48 fighters launched a synchronized assault, he asked for permission to attack before they were ready. "If you get us killed," Whitmore said, "I'm writing your family a very angry letter." Donovan smiled and opened fire. His bullets tore through the center of the enemy formation, not targeting aircraft, but the space where coordination happens. The formation dissolved, fighters collided, some fled, all cohesion vanished. In 90 seconds, the Germans regrouped and swarmed. Donovan, with only 180 rounds left, targeted the center of their courage. He shot into the psychological heart of the assault, hitting 3 planes and scattering the rest. As cannon fire raked Hell's Fury, he calmly targeted and downed 3 more fighters. When his guns finally clicked dry, he used the last weapon he had, his reputation. He tracked the next wave as if his guns were loaded. The lead German pilot flinched and broke formation. Others followed. Empty guns had become as deadly as loaded ones. By the end of the mission, Donovan had fired all 2,000 rounds. He had destroyed 12 fighters, probably downed 4 more, and damaged 3. Hell's Fury had taken hits but returned safely. Other crews confirmed the numbers. Radio intercepts backed it up. But the true impact was more than numbers. Word spread quickly. Gunners and pilots began requesting Donovan's methods. Within days, 8th Air Force Command sent representatives. Major General Frederick Anderson came personally to learn what Donovan had done. Anderson didn't just want an explanation, he wanted a revolution. Donovan was reassigned to Training Command. His orders: teach others. He resisted at first. He wanted to stay with his crew. But Anderson made it clear his crew had survived because of him. Others were dying because they didn't know what he knew. Thus began the Donovan Doctrine. At its heart, the doctrine was deceptively simple. First, seize initiative, attack during enemy formation, disrupt before they coordinate. Second, use fire for psychological effect, intimidate, confuse, force hesitation. Third, focus firepower on the most dangerous threat. Don't divide attention. Fourth, conserve ammo not by holding fire, but by preventing attacks altogether. Fifth, accept personal risk for crew survival. The mission mattered more than the man. Initial resistance came swiftly. Traditionalists called it suicidal. Commanders feared ammo waste, but statistics silenced doubters. Tailgunner casualty rates fell from 38% to 23% in 3 months. Fighter attack completion rates dropped by nearly half. German radio traffic revealed increasing reluctance to engage bombers known for aggressive defense. They called them phantoms with fire. Entire formations were avoided. Donovan trained over 300 gunners by August 1944. His curriculum included live fire, psychological conditioning, and tactical theory. His motto: fear happens when you react. Confidence happens when you act first. Not all passed. About a third washed out, unable to unlearn defensiveness. But those who succeeded reshaped the air war. Graduates of Donovan's program accounted for nearly half of all tailgunner kills in the European theater. They improvised, innovated, adapted his tactics to waist and ball turret positions. The doctrine spread like wildfire. One gunner survived 27 missions without damage. Another shot down 16 fighters in 4 operations. German fighters began recognizing the telltale signs: early fire, sustained barrages, fearless targeting, and turned away. By summer, even German manuals advised against engaging such bombers. The psychological tide had turned. German fighters now feared American gunners. Luftwaffe reports described the crippling impact of Donovan's doctrine. Fighter losses soared. Attack coordination collapsed. Donovan never returned to combat. He spent the rest of the war training. By war's end, analysts credited his doctrine with saving over 300 bombers and 3,000 lives. His ideas influenced not just bomber defense but extended to fighters, naval gunnery, and modern missile defense systems. The concept of early engagement, psychological disruption, and aggressive defense became a standard across militaries. After the war, Donovan returned to Boston. He never boasted, never gave interviews. He worked construction, raised a family. When he died in 1998, the obituary mentioned his Distinguished Service Cross. It didn't mention the 12 kills or the doctrine that changed warfare, but his legacy lived in every airman who trained under him. Veterans of his program gathered in South Boston the night before his funeral. They raised glasses to a man who never considered himself special, but he was. He saved thousands, not by following orders, but by thinking differently. Donovan's doctrine remains embedded in modern military training. Early engagement to disrupt, firepower as deterrence, and the psychology of intimidation continue to shape aerial strategy. The story of Michael Donovan isn't just about 12 kills in 4 minutes. It's about redefining what it means to survive. He taught the world that survival doesn't come from hiding, it comes from making the enemy too scared to fight.